actually is something that is only possible after a national decree. The last national decree from 2013 for the St. Martin Medical Center states explicitly in Article 2 that it is forbidden to use other tariffs than the ones that are attached to the national decree. This process of getting a national decree is something that is not possible without a signature of the Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, and also the Minister of TIAT should be involved, as this is something that has to do with price regulations. So what we have gathered from the Minister himself, when he invited us to meet with him concerning our concerns that was brought forward through the press media and the press releases, was that he, until now, has not signed any decree that establishes the 41.8% price hike of the St. Martin Medical Center. What the minister did was, because of the precarious situation of the St. Martin Medical Center, he wanted to assist by providing them with a budget financing of the ZV fund, that in exchange of the services that the medical center will provide to persons that have a doctor card from SZV from the ZV fund. So for instance, all the workers of the private sector that are insured with SVB, those workers, when they have to make use of services in the hospital now in return of the budget financing, the pre-financing that they got from SZV, they can now declare and say, okay, I used your money for patient A, for patient B, or for patient C, for treatment X, for treatment I, or for treatment Z. So that is the way this thing was, let's say, temporarily addressed. What we see is that this whole issue of jacking up the prices, where we discovered that these prices for SMMC hospital, laying in the hospital alone, will cost you twice as much as laying in a Curacao hospital, where before 10-10-10, everybody almost, after being here in the hospital, was sent to Curacao. The tariffs here in the hospital, by means of policy in the Netherlands Antilles, could not be higher than 70% of the tariffs from the general hospital in Curacao. After 10-10-10, we saw that a policy change was brought on, and this policy change was that now the St. Martin Medical Center may develop into a general hospital for St. Martin. This means that also the tariffs can increase, which was also what we read in one of the newspaper articles around 2011, when the former Minister of Public Health said that increase of the tariffs is now possible because now you are a general hospital. But in the governing program of the government that just was replaced, it was clearly stated that from 2016 to 2020, they would like to develop the St. Martin Medical Center into a general hospital. So in other words, it's not yet a general hospital. And secondly, to develop it to become a general hospital, there's a policy that you have to do as country. And that is something where you have to determine what kind of specialties you want in the hospital, what kind of things is needed in the hospital, and what is affordable for St. Martin, and what should be covered in the kingdom. These are the things that we right now want to discuss with the St. Martin Medical Center management, but also with the minister, because this is policy that you have to establish from the one hand, how to guarantee that everybody in the kingdom, no matter where they live, have access to quality healthcare, and also that they have access to affordable healthcare. So in terms of the quality, we want benchmarks to be respected from elsewhere in the kingdom. St. Martin Medical Center right now, and according to the minister, the meeting that we had with him. They are trying to achieve what they call a GCI accreditation. We are of the opinion that an ISO 9001 accreditation should be achieved. They have to try to get that. Reason why? Because we think that that is the one standard in the world that is being used and being observed for organizations that most of the hospitals in the Netherlands are already using. And so if we want benchmarks for comparable hospitals as in the Netherlands, we need those kind of standards to be observed. And if there are challenges, then those challenges have to be brought forward, and how to address them in terms of who has to pay and how much to pay. It can never be that the premiums for the workers have to be increased.
Going back to Tuesday, I think we as a society just came out of our prayer as a nation, asking God to bless us and to protect us. And we had a full house, you could say, of politicians that were there. Some with the audacity showing up, even campaigning, instead of the focus being on asking God, first as a nation, we repent, because God asked us to repent so He can heal our land, and we forget these important issues. As a representative of those who cannot speak for themselves, and thus for such reason, we as the anti-poverty platform, we go into areas that we believe and that we see that the ordinary citizen not so easily will champion, because of them not being directly involved until when they're faced with situations such as the hospital price increase, or them not having a doctor card, or for example with this pandemic we are having here with the whole hurricane situation and the social distribution of resources. Then they're faced with it and the frustration that is being built up, and the audacity of politicians that are behind the scene to this date, manipulating the environment so they can stay above. And we are saying no to that, because we are saying no in terms of continue pressing for answers. We will continue demanding that what we deserve be put on the table, because it is our money that is paying. And you will find yourself in a situation whereby the government, the ministry of the VSI and so, the SZV, they may take decision, and the workers and the employers who fit the bill. You understand? And for such, we are saying no to that, and we are demanding also that if you take away X amount of guilders or dollars from me, then I deserve to get X amount in service, or you understand, and quality care. What we're looking for our people is the guarantee, because you cannot see a caterpillar and tell me that's a butterfly. There's a process involved, and as my colleague Mr. Yuzurum explained, that what governs the hospital, the tariffs, a general hospital to where the SMC is today, you understand? You could clearly see a manipulation, but where rate is concerned and service is concerned, but they're acting as if they're already transformed into a butterfly, okay? But you're a caterpillar, you understand? With time, as you upgrade, and we get that satisfaction also that you are guarantee us the best quality, then we know you have reached that pinnacle.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NV.
First of all, I want to say thank you to all of those people who have been so openly encouraging and supportive of me during these past couple of months since government actually fell and we tendered our resignations. Finally, a new government was able to be sworn in on Monday at 10 a.m., at which point our resignation went into effect. Friday, we had received the letter from the governor informing us of such, and so we really literally had just a few days to prepare. However, it was something we knew was coming, and we were prepared for it. As annoying as it might seem to some, and especially to those within the ministry that have been doing the hard work over the past years under different ministers, I felt that I had a great working relationship with the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, and that we were well on our way to achieving the goals we had set in the 4-year program of the coalition, the Red, White and Blue Coalition. Some of the things that are very, very important to me is that the study financing legislation that had been pending and had even started back when I was there in 2012-13, that finally made its way out the door. It had been 6 years in the process. And at this point, one of the first things the department said to me was, Minister, we have to take a decision to move this forward. If it keeps going back to legal affairs, it will come back again and they will want more changes, because the challenge is we do not have enough legislators on the island, and every time they make changes, it goes back, a new set of eyes is at the department and sees other things or different things or things their way. So that's why it's very important that we also took that initiative together with the Minister of Finance to start the process to establish the law school. The budget was secured as well. So those are one of the achievements. It was not finalized, so it's one that the department will now be charged to continue with. But it is budgeted, it's online, it's on stream. The legislation, as I was mentioning before, study financing has been key. We've been handing out study financing to our students on St. Martin based on very old regulations, and been taken to court over and under because of these regulations. It did not include a talent scholarship or study financing for students with talent. This new ordinance would include that. So I am sitting in awe to wait and see when it actually gets to Parliament, because it's now in the process, and then once it goes through the final vetting with all of the persons that have to look at it, all of the entities, then it will be debated in Parliament, and I am looking forward to that debate to see whether the sitting members of Parliament, whether it's this group or the next, will make any changes, further changes to it. But all in all, within this year, I'm sure that piece of legislation would be able to go into effect. Many other pieces of legislation moved forward. I can't say finalized, but they moved forward. The process is very, very tedious, and one that we did not get to shorten. So we did not have enough time there to shorten the legislative process, and this is a process that's been in place forever. So we also work on the bekostigingsskolen, is the way we fund schools. That one is also out the door. The start notice for higher education has been finalized. The draft is being finalized, and we have an MOU with University of St. Martin also, where their input is expected in March. So the final draft will be shared with them prior to their input. So they've had their input on the start notice, on the research that was done to prepare the start notice, and now this is the stage where we are at, and fast tracking it with assistance from some legislatures with a speciality in education, If that works out with a collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Culture and Science in the Netherlands, that type of technical help can help us to get there by June. Barring that, our goal at the time was December of 2018. So at least 2 to 3 very, very important legislation for culture, education, culture, youth and sport should come out and be finalized by 2018, the end of 2018, of which I'm very, very proud, because these are things that the ministry has been working on for years. Now, most of the people on St. Martin are like, oh, you're talking about documents. They want to know about tangible things. But it is very important that we can have events, we can do things, but if they're not rooted in any type of laws or policies, then when a minister leaves, it's gone. So several projects did come out, which are not legislated, but policies are being worked out for agricultural programs in schools, for PAN in the schools. There's also more cultural awareness. A social studies book is being redone. There's also a Dutch method specifically for us being worked out. Several things are happening behind the scenes, which there's nothing tangible that you can bring to the people of St. Martin. But we have been incorporating, as I said, getting the programs in the schools already. The Education Care Center was finalized before Hurricane Irma destroyed the actual location. So they are shuffling between different schools at this time and still trying to assist students who have certain disabilities or inabilities to control their behaviors in the classrooms, which are causing disruptions. These are the same students that end up going to secondary school and become dropouts or become youth offenders and end up in either the youth detention center or in prison. And we felt that at education at the elementary level should also deal with these students, see them as persons to be saved prior to becoming threats to the society. So assisting parents, the Student Support Services Division is key in that. Assisting parents, giving workshops to parents. These are all things that have been happening during the past years and have increased, under my leadership. The ministry, I feel, feels empowered to bring forth their ideas, and they all fit perfectly within the governing program of the National Alliance, USP, and then at that time DP party, that came together with their manifestos to make a program that was for all the people of St. Martin. And so I feel that we've achieved much. Policies in sport are also being finalized. The National Sports Institute, which we call the NSI, which is the execution arm of the sports department, which works on development of sports at the grassroots level, making sure that organizations have school tournaments and the like. That also has accelerated. So, I've seen some comments here and there by people who don't even know what's going on in St. Martin about how sports have gone backwards. Sports facilities have not improved in the past year, but they have been on our capital investment plan for the past 5 years, ever since Silveria Jacobs took office the first time. Every time I left office, it pushed itself down the line, and getting it back up every time you're in for a short period. And then the issues we had with the CFT in 2016, delaying the approval of the rest of the capital budget, also played a role in that. But even in that, we were still able to finalize the Little League ballpark, where now they have underneath of the stands an area where they can teach. They have 2 areas where teams can sleep, and as a matter of fact, government was able to use those 2 areas as a shelter. So the field, we are working also as a government with the Sports Federation and an NSI to get more after-school activities in collaboration with the youth department. So coordination and cooperation between departments is also something that has seen some improvement over the years. Of course, nothing is perfect. We are a work in progress. We are people, and you always have to struggle with change. But I saw a great change in the activities, in the buy-in, in the enthusiasm of the ministry. The Division Innovations and in Education became the Project Bureau. It was slated to be phased out. But when I came back in 2015, I was like, no, these are the people, instead of bringing in third parties to host events, to carry out projects for government, they can be spearheading it. And if they need assistance, we bring in, but it would be less costly. as they were already government employees. And so we saw that department grow. That's where the agriculture coordinator is. We have projects like the I-STEP, which is computer technology in the classroom. It started out back then as 1 laptop per child. We received those funds from when the Netherlands Antilles. It was something that was supposed to happen even before 10-10-10, never happened. After 10-10-10, we were still able to get the money to be able to put it in a fund. It stayed in the fund for over a year, finally was transferred back to government in 2015, about the time that I got back into office, and the I-STEP program was, committee was set up, and students were involved, the logo was designed, and we have been ordering. I-STEP is because we're using the iPads as the material, the hardware, and the software, and it has, teachers have been trained, management have been trained. Each public school, it's starting in the public schools first, will have 2 or more classes depending on the type of school that are, you know, working with the I-STEP program, and I'm very, very proud that that was able to get off of the ground. There's much more. I didn't mention culture, I don't think, but in culture we had started the stakeholders meetings to move towards the revitalization of our natural and cultural heritage. A lot of people may not see tangible, actual things, except that in culture, we have a lot of activities and events, and despite our financial struggles, we have hosted St. Martin's Day, we have hosted cultural parades, we have promoted arts and culture within the schools, we have promoted and helped artists to travel, to carry out, to take part in workshops, as well as 1-year studies. One artist, Tyra Els, was actually able to get it more than once, and struggling to be able to assist her with a very expensive school. She was also a study financing recipient, and we made the exemption, even though it's not in the law as yet, for her to still receive her study financing during this year. So this government has been struggling, despite the current laws, to be able to focus and put its money in our youth, spend money in not just education, but in sports and arts and culture, so that we could promote a well-rounded young man or woman who will become a productive citizen of St. Martin. So I'm quite proud of the achievements of the ministry that I led, but I can say that their hard work is what made it possible. I can come with ideas. Many of those ideas were there from 2012-13, was able to build on them, move them forward, and I'm very, very proud of the achievements that we have made.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 Fun Mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of Fun Miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free Fun Miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles from within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
It's been said, that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
1,
2,
3,
4. This is how common it is to develop a mental illness. 1 out of every 4.
4,
4.
4. But there is hope. Today, most mental illnesses can be managed and treated. Visit your general doctor if you feel concerned about your thoughts and behaviors or have some difficulty dealing with some of life's issues.
If you have been diagnosed and are suffering from a mental illness, keep in mind these 4 points to help you manage your mental health.
1. Get regular checkups with your general doctor.
2. Stay on your treatment plan to prevent relapses.
3. Find a strong support group in your family and friends.
And 4. Never be afraid to ask for help and look out for the warning signs of your illness.
Remember, you are not alone. We are as close as one.
2,
3,
4.
Learn about mental health illness by going to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
Another storm we've been battling is since the vote of no confidence. There's been a political storm, and that's had many consequences for our country. You know, from the time that there was a vote of no confidence, I think there's some that anticipated the change in government perhaps didn't drive projects forward the way that they need to, because in this environment, you know, time is not our friend. We need to have projects moving. We need to have them expedited and executed as quickly as possible, because every day is a day that the community suffers. And this, of course, comes at a time when our community, more than ever, needs stability, but such is life. This has been a difficult time as well personally. You know, these days since the vote of no confidence, as the lone minister in the Council of Ministers that was anticipated to return, you can imagine that the atmosphere was not the most pleasant or conducive atmosphere. They've been, as a matter of fact, very challenging, very uncomfortable days. And you know, there's let's say a sort of a public secret that what always tends to happen after there's a change of government is the outgoing government has a tendency to make snap decisions and, in my opinion, to grant favors that they want to extend to their supporters. And I think this is, in my opinion, this is a process that needs to stop. We talk about continuity in government, we talk about the chain responsibilities, and I think that the guiding focus should be what's in the best interest of the country, and that alone. So, you know, these days since then, I've been in a hostile environment, in a tense environment, but always with the objective of defending the interests of country and defending the people of our country. And actually, there was a couple quotes or a couple speeches that I was listening to that helped me to sort of confirm or reaffirm what I was doing and what's right. One was actually Oprah Winfrey's speech in the Golden Globes, where she spoke about that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool that we all have. And the other actually was a conversation with a rabbi, and he was referring to a speech by Prime Minister Netanyahu. And he was talking about a time when he was serving in the UN, and actually he had advice from a rabbi saying that serving in a house of many lies, unfortunately politics can be like that, remember that even in the darkest place, the light of a single candle can be seen far and wide. So actually both people are talking about truth. And in my language, in political language, I think that refers then to transparency, open government, that the people have a right to know that the politicians are there to defend their interests, defend the country, and to be open about what's happening. It is my intention then, within the next few days, in conversations with the new members of the Council of Ministers, to discuss recent decisions from the previous government that I'm personally uncomfortable with and that I believe are not in the best interests of the country. And I believe that these are decisions that the Council of Ministers should examine and reevaluate as to whether they are really in the interests of the country. This practice of outgoing governments, in my opinion, needs to stop because it's not good for the people. A few things going forward, some basic information. I've gotten some inquiries. Regarding the basic necessity vouchers, 2,210 basic necessity vouchers have been filled out, and of those, 2,060 have already been picked up. And to my record, so far, we have 2 official dismissal requests at the ministry. In terms of projects going forward, there's a number of things that has our attention, our focus, for this very short governing period. You know, there's something that sometimes escapes people. The ministry, all the ministries, have staff, have resources, a budget that was designed for normal operations. So in other words, the operations for the Ministry of VSA was set for the year based on anticipated workload. What's happened after Irma? That workload has dramatically increased. The needs of the community have dramatically increased. I mean, we have social housing issues, we have people who need financial aid, medical aid, we have more labor disputes. So the workload for the ministry, and I'm sure this goes for every other ministry represented here, has increased dramatically. But instead, the resources, if anything, have reduced. I know for the Ministry of VSA, for example, we are struggling just with vehicles for inspectors to be able to go out and to do their job. Thankfully, in our conversations with Holland, we've received some new vehicles, and hopefully we'll receive more shortly. But it's a constant battle to get resources for the ministry to do its work. And so it's something that I'd like the community and everyone just to understand that, you know, the ministries are really stretched to their limit, and until we can get more resources, and I'm talking about human resources, financial resources, physical resources, have a little bit of patience, understand that everybody has their own personal issues at home, and we're all working with very stressed budgets and resources.